was taller than me.
Yeah, I've always been this tall. I have always been this tall since I started school. I was in the back of the line because I've always been this tall. Always.
That must be where I met her, because my name was Ted. I was in the back of the line, taking me and Linda Stiglitz were always in the back of the line. She was back there because she was too tall.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
He used to sit behind Linda Stiglitz, and what did you say when you sit behind Linda?
Betty, Betty, go steady with me.
Yeah. It's in that little.
I didn't make the song up.
Betty, Betty, go steady with me. Betty, Betty, go steady with me. Betty, Betty, go steady with me. Please, pretty Betty, go steady with me. Betty is
I don't know, she was popular. She had a lot more friends than I did. And I don't know.
I don't know about that, but whatever.
And she was always
He liked me because I was tall.
she was always you know, in charge of something, taking off, doing something, being a lead, and that kind of stuff. So, and Sister Philomena, she didn't discourage it. I mean, that was what was funny to me. She'd say something about Betty Lou. Said, right, Talley. She called me, right, Talley? She'd say something positive about Betty and said, oh, she looks good today, huh? Right, Talley?
Yeah.
You know, and that was, you know,
Yeah.
made it feel kind of special. One day after, let's see, I was at,
We went to church. It was around
Thanksgiving.
in November. No, it was in like for All Saints Day, All Souls Day, something like that. We'd gone to church. We'd come outside church. So we'd stand there. You know, our parents were talking, and our mamas were talking, and then Dad and I were standing there, and he goes, "Hey, you want to go to the show?" And I said, "Like a date?" He goes, "Oh no, not like a date. Just
we're too good
we're
friends.
friends for that. We just not like a date." I said, "Oh, okay, all right, yeah." So we went to the show, and that was it.
She is so pretty, she is so fine. My dreams would all come true if she were mine. Betty, Betty, go steady with me.
I'll tell you about how he proposed to me, okay? He went off to Mississippi State. So once a week, we talked on the phone, Sunday night or something like that. And then, so, you know, it's like a Wednesday. And he calls. And I go, "What's the matter?" And he's, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, it's like Wednesday. You know what? Something must be wrong because you don't call it on, you know, Sunday evening." And he said, "What?" I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." I said, "Gee, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?" "Yeah, at home at the counter." I said, "Well, what are you doing at home?" He said, "Well, I decided I'm just going to come home." I said, "Well, what did you come home for?" He said, "I came home to get married." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he says, "Maybe I better come over." All right. So here he comes over. So we're sitting in the car, and he goes, "So, we're going to get married?" I said, "Well, yeah, I guess so." It's always been romantic. At first, we were sitting on the steps at the front door of my house. And he was telling me why he came home, And he said, I used to tell him that I said a novena every day. I would go down to church and I said a novena because he was telling me how hard it was for him to be up there and me here and this kind of stuff. So I would go there and I was just saying a novena that it wouldn't be so hard for him. He says, "Well, I think you prayed me home." I said, "Okay."
I used to say, I went up there to be a metallurgical engineer. I stayed 3 months, never saw the first train. I knew they didn't have engineers up there. So I came home and got married.
And my wedding dress, I had a hard time with that because I knew I would have it made, but I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. I kind of had an idea of what I was looking for, but I wasn't sure of what I was looking for. So we went to our friend Deborah and Jean's wedding. And when Deborah came down the aisle, I went, that's my wedding dress. Because I loved how it looked.
I didn't know we used Deborah's. I thought she made your own.
No, I had mine made, but I did borrow her pattern. The day of our wedding, I was going down, I think I was at the corner of Market
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
Highway 90. And I don't know where I was going, but your dad passed in the car going down Market Street, like from north to south. So he passed in front of me. And it was like I was trying to hide from him because he wasn't supposed to see me on our wedding day.
Oh,
He didn't even know if I was there. It rained a little bit. Not in the church, but as we're coming out the church, it was raining enough that we had to have an umbrella to come out. And that's one of the cutest wedding pictures that we have, is Dad and I standing at the door of the side door of the church, and he has the umbrella.
On the high school side.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best
No, I
pictures.
know.
At the wedding reception, I remember we took a picture at, like when we cut the cake, we took that picture. And then we went and did something else. And when we turned around, our wedding cake was gone. I guess we had too many children at that wedding because it was gone. I mean, there was only left that thing that it was sitting on, and that was it. I mean, it was like, whoa, this wedding lasted too long. These people are hungry, or there's too many children here because this cake is gone.
Yeah, I remember my knees were shaking when we were up there doing my knees were knocking when we were doing the vows. I remember that very distinctly. I came out from the side room, I think, over here, and they came up, my daddy brought her up from the back, and when they started going boom, 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 my knees started going they stopped, and when I got out there, and I guess we met at the altar and then went to a kneeler carrying on front of the altar. And they got better, but when we stood up to do the vows, they went again. I just knew that, it was the most visible thing in the church. Everybody was watching. I thought, Lord mercy. But anyway.
Well, we went to what's that hotel? The Admiral Sims Hotel in Mobile. Dad only had 2 days off. And then we spent, 3 days, because we spent one night there. And then we turned around and we drove all the way down to Biloxi to the Broadwater, nice hotel, then, and stayed one night there. And
They
then we
had
came home.
they had a honeymoon suite in the back of the Broadwater. The Broadwater was a boat rivage of Biloxi back then,
Just one night Mobile, one night Biloxi. He came home, he had to go to work. Had a wife to support.
And I worked for 45 years after that.
Over on Beck Street there was a house in the front, and then there were about 3 or 4 little apartments back behind it. We lived in the apartment that was the house part.
Part of the house, yeah.
The house. And so there was a little apartment, and you went in the front door, and there was a living room.
Room.
And then it was straight to the back door, and there was a bedroom with part of a wall there, and then another part of a wall, and there was a kitchen and a bathroom on that side. That was it.
We had the house
Framed up.
framed up and blacked in, had windows and doors where you could lock it. Of course, had electricity. And the cabinets were hung, I think.
Not when we got married.
But we lived there for about 6 months or so, and then I think we were paying
Dad says,
$70 a month,
yeah,
or
Dad said,
$60.
why are we spending this money on rent when we have a house? It wasn't finished. There was
Well,
no
we didn't
walls
have,
inside.
yeah, we were waiting on the sewer, what it was.
Right.
And they never did do it, so we got us put in a septic tank and moved on up here with the house.
Right. The only thing that had any kind of wall or where you couldn't see through the wall was the bathroom. And they would put that up. But everything else you could walk through the walls. There was no. But
Yeah, a couple years
when
later.
we moved in here, we had, in the living room, we had 2 lawn chairs, a metal TV on some kind of stand, I don't even know what.
Swivel.
And that was it. That was our living room furniture. Oh, and in front, we didn't have any curtains. In front of one of the windows was a freezer, big old freezer. And it didn't even work, did it?
No.
A big freezer
We
that
worked for
block.
blocking a window.
And the other window, what?
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
don't
don't even know why that freezer was in here, but it was in here, so we just pushed it in front of the window. And then the other one, I don't know if we put a sheet over it or what, but anyway. That's why we moved up in here.
Yeah,
I've been
they,
living in the lap of luxury ever since. I was, we had a 2-bedroom house and 4 children, and I was pregnant with the 5th. So one day I took a measuring tape and I measured the inside of the closet, the end of it, measured the inside of it. Because I had 3 children sleeping in one small bedroom, a baby bed at the foot of the bed already, with an 18-month, well, he wasn't even 18 months old, he was probably 10 or 11 months, he wasn't a year old in there. So I thought, okay. So Dad comes home from work, and I said, look, you have 2 choices. We either need to add on to this house, or you need to clean out the side of the closet because the porta crib will fit in there. I just measured it today, and it will fit, and the baby will have to sleep in there because we don't have any more room. We got this little one can't come out of the baby bed. He's too little, and this baby can't go in there with him. So we got to do something. So Dad we added on the back end of the house.
We did the shop first, right? You know, I had to have a place to work from, did the shop. And then working overtime at Chevron, saved the money to buy the material for this addition. And put it in the shop. Doing the finished work, putting floors down, that kind of stuff, was a lot more expensive. So, and we didn't have furniture to put in it. So we went down and got back to the bank, same bank, and got another loan. And it was the exact same loan that I got when we moved up here, and we went ahead and borrowed some money and got, stuff finished in here. It was a $5,000 loan, and the notes were $111.97 for 5 years. And I had, owing that kind of money had bothered me so bad when I worked, when we paid it off for 3 years. I couldn't sleep good at night knowing I owed that kind of money to anybody. There I was again. Then, I had the same thing. But I had, had made more at Chevron at that time. I made overtime, and I think we just let it ride, paid it out, because I done been through the traumatic experience of owing somebody money.
When they sent us the payment book, they used to send you a book where you paid. And so I opened it up and looked at it, and I said, Dad, look at this. He said, oh my gosh, they made a mistake. They sent us the same book that we had from the first, because it was to the penny exactly the payments we had made originally. So he thought that they had made a mistake, because we...
Boy, it sure looked thick though. So you flip through the back of it, see that date back there, so, oh my God, we'll be forever doing this.
Dad was sent to Hawaii with Chevron.
6 weeks job.
Okay.
Overhaul,
So,
6 days a week, 12 hours a day overtime.
yay. So, 5 guys went, and so 5 of us ladies decided we were going to fly out there. I'd never been on an airplane in my life.
At the end of the job, they come
Right,
out.
and spend 2
5 days.
So, okay, all right, I'm gonna come. So we get on we flew out of Mobile. We get on the airplane, we fly to California. Well, in California, we had to circle the airport for like 30 minutes or so, or maybe longer than that, I don't know, but we had to circle. Well, the longer they circled, the tighter the circle got for me. It was like they were going, I mean, it was terrible. Well, I was so sick by the time I got off that airplane. I told the lady who was the head lady for this group, I told her, I said, look, you tell Charles Talley I'll see him when he gets home. I'm getting on a Greyhound bus and going home. And I was saying, oh, no, you're not. She said, oh, no, you're not. She grabbed me by the hand. She drugged me in one of them places that sells all the, like the newsstands and that kind of stuff. Bought me some Dramamine, pumped me full of Dramamine, and dragged me on that airplane. We went to,
everything they had on that island.
whatever they did. We rented a car and we literally drove around the island, the whole island in about 2 hours, I think it was. We were going to go to, what was the name of that beach? It was a famous, you would see it all the time on TV, it was a surfing beach. So,
Offshore.
right, so we get out of the car and we're walking to the beach, and so we're walking to the beach. So we keep walking, and Mom was getting closer to the water and closer to the water, and I looked at Dad, I said, where is the beach? And he goes, this is the beach. It was volcanic rock. It wasn't a white sand beach. And that's the only beach I ever knew of. I didn't know beaches were other than white sand beaches.
We stayed in the Alamoana, which Chevron had put us up in, and even though we were getting a real good rate, we were on our own nickel. And if we'd been over here going to Maryland, St. Bed, we wouldn't be staying in that place, So, long story short, by the time we paid the babysitters, we had round-the-clock babysitters here. I think one of them was in diapers. Somebody must have been Robert, maybe. But,
no. When we went, Robert was 4. Yeah, he was in diapers because he was 4 months old.
Yeah.
And Sarah Goff kept all 5 of y'all.
But by the time we paid that and paid the airplane flights and Alamoana, we got back home. I had about $26 worth of overtime money left. But that was our first experience of saying, hey, this is a once-in-a-lifetime deal. Let's do it. And we used that quite a few times in our other travels later in life. Everything we did was extra special because it was just way out of our bracket, I mean, I thought we were lucky back when we could, and we were, go stay with Aunt Bev and go to Washington, D.C. and see the Smithsonian and all that kind of stuff. And then that trip to Hawaii. But to go over there and live in another country and just meet people and be together and have our own place, and it was like that period of time between after church that day and when we got married, all over again for me. It was.
That was the beginning of our when we, because you had to go to a special store when we first got there, to where they sold Western foods like that you recognized, like peanut butter, stuff like that, that you knew what you were buying, because everything else in the grocery stores was all Korean, or written, so you didn't know exactly what you were getting. And so I came home one day and I told Dad, I said, well, I was going to buy some Jif peanut butter today, but they wanted $8 for that jar of peanut butter. And I said, I just could not bring myself to do it. He said, did you want the peanut butter? I said, yeah, I love peanut butter. I'd love to have it. He goes, then buy it. If you want it,
yeah, that was new. That was total new.
And that was the beginning of our, well, we're not going to look at the price of it. We just buy it.
Put it in the basket, and it was also.
Until we learned to shop in the Korean grocery stores. The biggest blessing, sorry children, our children, the biggest blessing that we have are our 13 grandchildren. They have made me proud every day. Every day they make me proud.
Well, just to see the things they do in school, and they're all achievers. How that happened, I don't know, but maybe. And it's not just because they're my grandkids, but they all achievers. Everybody's always getting something, some type of recognition.
But they all have
And that,
kind, generous hearts.
and it don't.
And that makes
just
me
happen.
most proud, is the fact that they all have kind,
That
generous
don't
hearts.
just happen, it comes from their parents.
And they love each other. Even though they don't see each other often, they're always excited when the other ones are coming and they get to spend some time together. And that, to me, is a blessing. I
Makes
just-
you want to go back to the beach this year. They're like, you asked them about how school was when I was a kid, and it was lovely. You know, and living overseas was lovely, and having these grandchildren and interfacing with them is lovely. There's not a lot of people that say that.
Don't get me wrong, I love my children. But I love my grandchildren.